Hey again, it's Jason from Fraser Valley Rose Farm, and I have an irrigation project today. I replanted all of my roses from my stock beds into a brand new stock field with tires around them to space them out and give them more room to grow so I can evaluate new varieties and so on. But the thing is, it's getting hot now and I have to work quickly to get some irrigation on those. Now there's lots of different ways you can do that. The way I'm going to show you today is probably what I would describe as fast and dirty, a do-it-yourself PVC piping irrigation system where all you have to use is some lengths of PVC, a literal handful of fittings, and a drill, and you can very, very quickly and very inexpensively get together a do-it-yourself irrigation system. Let me show you what I'm dealing with, and then I'll show you how to fit these together to irrigate it properly. Here's how I set up the roses this year. Rainbow's End on the end of the row. And here's the stock field. And you can see that for each rose that I put in, I've put it into one of these tires as a barrier to the surrounding grass and weeds. And my rose fans won't mind me walking around a little bit and showing you the roses themselves. I won't spend long on it. That's Royal William. This one was given to me by a rose friend. Singing in the Rain, I hadn't grown it before. And it's not entirely spotless, but for the kind of spring we've had, it's been a wet spring, lots of disease pressure. And let's see if I can get, this sun is very hard on the colors here, but let's see how bright that is. Quite nice. Double Delight, which I've always found a little bit hard to keep in really good condition. I have a couple others in the same color range that I'm trying out. This one is Melody Parfumée. You can only get just a slight hint of the color here. It's bloomed through. But the exciting bit is down here, where you can see it's throwing brand new basal shoots. All of these were transplanted in this year, so they're just getting established. In a slight patch of shade here, I have Elena, which is, a relatively disease-resistant hybrid tea. Not quite white, more towards the yellow side, or pale yellow. And here on the end, well, I can't leave out Chapeau de Napoleon with those wonderful crested buds. Alright, let me show you the pieces I'm working with here. This is a piece of thin wall PVC. It's not like the Schedule 40 heavy duty PVC. It's a really light duty PVC made for irrigation projects like this. And it's cheap compared to the heavier duty PVC, the Schedule 40. This is like, in my local hardware store, was about $3 compared to about $10 for the other piece. It's a 10-foot length. So I've got a 10-foot length here, I've got a 10-foot length here. The other thing that's cool about it is it's already flared on the one end. And what that flare allows you to do, and I hope you can see that in the camera, is you can just slip fit them together. You don't have to buy an extra piece of fitting to glue them together. In fact, I'm not going to glue this at all if I can help it. I'm just going to leave them so I can pull them apart and reorganize it around the yard as much as I want. And under low pressure applications, that should probably be fine. So you can see I'm going to slide together then 6 or 7 lengths of this to cover that whole row in the field. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to connect it to the water supply. And to do that, I need pieces like this. So this piece here is, on the one end, female hose thread, on the other end, female iron pipe thread. And I'm going to connect that to this piece here, which is male iron pipe thread to slip. Screwing those together, that should create the adapter I need to connect this end, the supply end of the PVC, into my hose. Then on the other end, I'm going to saw it off and I'm going to use a cap like this. And again, probably won't even have to glue that. The only other thing I need for this project is a drill. I'm going to start off with a fairly small drill bit. This is an 1/8 of an inch drill bit, and then I'll move up from there if I need to. Okay, back in the rose field now, and you can see that I've laid down the pipe, and it took me all of about, 2 minutes to slip these together all the way in, up and down the row. You can see, of course, that it slumps a little bit. It's a very forgiving material, so it really doesn't matter how it's applied. And now let's look at how to do the ends on it. And here on the supply end, of course, it's just as easy as sticking on that fitting I showed you earlier. That's the PVC part connected to the metal part, making sure that's nice and snug, and then just screwing it on to the output end of a hose, or the male end of a hose. On the far end of the line, the end where the water is supposed to stop, this end cap, this cap, will not fit onto the flared end of this pipe. So I'm just going to cheat here and use the tool that I have in my hand, which is my pruners, to cut off this pipe here, and then cap it with the piece that I have. Now I'm going to give that water someplace to go. So along the length here, wherever I have a rose, I'm going to go ahead and stick in one hole for now, and then I will adjust as I see what the flow through is like. Just a little bit of pressure added to the system, and I'm getting exactly what I want here. This is just a little bit of a flow rate at each rose. I'll measure that in just a minute, but the pressure is on so low that there is zero leakage along the pipe here, nothing dripping at any of the unions. I can look at the end where the end cap is, and again, no leakage. And let's have a quick look at the other end. And here at the supply end as well, no leak at all, so it's holding together quite nicely. Let's check that flow rate. Here on the far end of the system, I'm just going to take a measurement to see how long it takes to fill 1 liter or a quarter of a gallon of water, and then I'll compare that to what it does nearer to the hose end or the supply end. And one more time here right next to where the hose hooks up. With the water flow relatively the same on the output end as it is on the front end, now I'll say one last thing about this before I move inside and show you some other parts, is that this is portable. It's very light, very easy to move, and because the rest of our rose field is built on exactly the same template, then there is no problem moving the irrigation from one end down to the other and just irrigating this row by row by row. Just a quick straight up comparison between the traditional drip irrigation systems that use drip emitters like these on line like this and the PVC do-it-yourself system that I talked about there. So one thing that these are really good for is you can control the flow rate with this. The one that I built out there, the flow rate is really just controlled by changing the knob, and that's not very precise. You know, for rough irrigation like I'm trying to do, I got it down to a rate where it was putting out about 1 liter every minute or so, which is a high rate, but suitable for my needs, so I know how long I have to put down on those rows. I'm probably going to run it for under 10 minutes per row and put in something like 3 gallons or 2.5 gallons of water per rows. With these ones here, you get a little bit of control right out of the box. This one here is a 2 gallon per hour drip rate. So that's the advantage of going with the professional systems, is that they have that drip rate built right in, and you don't have to calculate it yourself or do hand controlling to get what you want. On the downside of these, they are a little bit prone to clogging up. So even just a little bit of sediment, just a little bit of algae gets into this thing, and now you've got one drip head that is clogged, and you might not know that for a while. So one of your plants may be at risk from the fact that it's clogged and your plant is not getting water. So for those reasons, plus the fact that I like the PVC system is fast, it's made from locally available parts, it's easy, it's cheap, it's adaptable, and it's portable. All of those reasons, I really like the PVC system, especially when I'm trying to throw something together really quick like this and I'm not wanting to go to a specialty irrigation supplier. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video on that do-it-yourself irrigation system. If you have any questions about that, please drop them below the video. See if I can help you out.